Hi, my name is Sarah DeTemple. I'm a clinical nurse educator, Royal Columbian. I've been a nurse for almost 20 years and have made a few changes in my career from different specialties to furthering my education to now being a nurse educator.
What first drew you to the nursing field, and when did you begin to feel a shift in your interest or purpose?
A long time ago, feels like. My mom always suggested I go into nursing, and I actually didn't want anything to do with nursing. I wanted to go into law, and I geared all my schooling towards going into law. But then at the same time, post high school, while I was going to school, I got a job in a walk-in clinic and just realized that I loved what I was doing. So I was more of an office assistant, but I had really good doctors who took the time to teach me and explain things, and I realized that I actually am probably more interested in this than I would be in law. So then that led me to the path of going to nursing school. And then I worked there while I was going to nursing school. And again, the doctors I worked with were just fabulous about helping me understand what I was learning, giving me opportunities to practice. Yeah, that was sort of when the shift happened, and that would have been in my early 20s when that happened. And then, once I finished school and I started nursing, I knew that this was by far the right choice for me. And I didn't really think too much further for what was next. I just knew that with nursing, the possibilities are endless of where you could go. So that was the other thing, that there's no chance of you getting bored in this career.
And what made you realize your last role wasn't right for you anymore?
I don't know if I fully realized that it wasn't right for me. I very much do love being at the bedside. I do very much love working with my patients and their families, but I like teaching more. And when I first started nursing, I had amazing mentors at work, and they made me into the nurse that I am now. And I know that the next generation needs strong mentors, and I hope that I'm a strong mentor for them. And when I first started nursing, being an educator wasn't really on my radar until somebody brought it up to me and said, you've got some good qualities. You would probably be a good mentor. So I started taking students. And then I was like, this is actually, I really like this. Because the students kept me on my toes, didn't let me get complacent in my practice, didn't let me, start taking things for granted. They always asked really good questions. I was like, stuff I didn't think about that before. So it kept everything fresh. And then I really loved when I saw somebody get something for the first time, or do a skill for the first time, or I taught them how to do something and then I watched them teach somebody else. And it just watching people's confidence grow, I just knew that I really, really liked that. So that's kind of what started steering me towards education. And then, I just started pursuing more courses and more opportunities to become a stronger educator. And then the opportunity came up a couple of years ago to take this role as an educator. And I kind of a firm believer of sometimes it's never a good time to make a change or make a decision. You just got to do it. So I've been working towards it, and the opportunity came up, and I jumped on it. And it's been the right decision for me so far.
And what would you say helped you build confidence in your new professional identity after leaving nursing and going into the education field?
Definitely always strong mentors. So my manager in this role is definitely more of a leadership role than I've had before, like a more formal leadership role. There was a big learning curve that came with that, just how to, navigate with other managers, other directors, other educators, dealing with staff on a different level, and also recognizing that just because you're an educator doesn't mean you just get to teach all the time. There's a lot more behind the scenes that happen, which I want to say that I knew, but I didn't know the extent to. So I do feel like with other people's jobs, and if you want to advance further, you can only learn so much and investigate so much until you're actually in the role, and then you get the rest of the picture. So I didn't go into this job with my eyes closed, but I also didn't realize the scope of the difference until I was here. So having strong mentors for me has been probably the biggest key to my success. And then the other part is that this is what I wanted. Even when it was hard at the beginning and learning this new job, it's what I wanted. I had to figure out ways to make this work and how to figure out answers to what I didn't know.
And what was something, maybe like a lesson that you were taught by a mentor, or something that had been said to you that really resonated with you throughout this process and made you teaching? And then when it went from transitioning from being a English teacher to a college instructor. So I want to know maybe what are some lessons that you were taught, or some quotes that you live by that were given to you by mentors?
Well, I've probably got lots of quotes, but not specifically from mentors. But I mean, I think the biggest thing is, it was one of my managers who'd once said, like if you say you're going to do something, do it. Be transparent. Lead by example. The lead by example is a very big one. And I know in my role now, if I am trying to encourage the staff to do something, I got to do it too. And so I make sure that they see me, out there, like as simple as like talking about teamwork. I'm like, if I'm walking by and someone says they need help, I jump in and help, right? Because I'm promoting teamwork. I guess probably lead by example is the biggest one.
If someone had told you they were thinking about leaving a stable job to follow a calling, what would you say to them?
Don't make decisions quickly. Do your homework. Investigate what it is that you want to leave your job for, and what all the risks will be, and what all the possible outcomes could be. I always say, when you're making big decisions like that, 5 years down the road, if you had to look back, what are you going to regret more? Would you regret staying, or would you regret that you didn't follow through with this? That's kind of your driving force. The other part, though, is if you think about things in like how you're going to look back on it, do you need to leave right now, or could it wait a little bit?
What would you say, how has your definition of success changed since transitioning from being a nurse and to healthcare education?
I don't know if my definition of success has fully changed per se. Because when I was at the bedside, my definition of success would be how my patients are doing. Did my patients get better? Did I give them comfort? Did I make a family feel safe when they're in the hospital? To now it's, does my team feel safe? Do I see my team grow? Their success is my success.
Final question, I guess, is what would you tell someone feeling stuck right now and unsure of what's next?
I mean, that's a hard one for people when they're feeling stuck. I think the biggest thing is when we feel stuck, it's also that we feel very overwhelmed by things in our life and we don't know which direction's next. And so when I start to feel like that, I always take a step back and focus on the simple things. I focus on what matters to me. Now it's my family and family time. And once you clear all the other stuff out of the way, you start to see direction. And it doesn't happen overnight, which is the other thing, is you have to be patient and you have to think about what the next step is, but you have to get all the stuff out of your way, out of your vision before you can get to that. Because if you have everything in life that's piled on you and you're not getting anywhere, you're not gonna see what your next path is. That's how I look at it for the times that I felt like I don't know what's next and I don't know where I'm going.
Because I know now you're leading teams and you're in a position of education. What would you say is the most successful way to get a team working together? Like really, truly being transparent and honest and trusting one another. What would you say to that?
I do what my team tells me to do. And in that sense, it's if I bring a problem to them, I'm not the one implementing the problem or like implementing solutions to the problem. They are. So I need solutions, like the problem needs solutions that they are capable of making. When we're rolling out a new initiative, I take it to them. This is what they want. How do we make this ours? What do you need from me to support you? If they tell me something's too much, then I'm like, yep, that's fine. We're not going to do it. Like, we're going to do what's within your capability, and I will support you with whatever I need to, resource-wise, telling directors, no, we need to back off, whatever the case may be. For the most part, this worked very well for our team. Our units have been really successful in a lot of initiatives that we've rolled out. I know when people ask how do we do what we do, I'm like, I don't. I do what my team wants me to do because is what they're capable of doing. It's what they have time for, what's in their scope, because they're very stretched in healthcare. So,
and any last advice you'd give to fellow students?
You need to have a goal of kind of what's next, and once you've completed that goal, enjoy it. But then, what comes next for you? Now that you've hit your goal, so what? So what's going to be your next step? The biggest thing would be not to let fear and life hold you back from going after what you want next. There's always going to be something that comes up with either family, work, friends. There's never going to be a perfect time to take a next step. You just have to do it. And the chips will fall where they fall. It's really hard to sometimes wrap your head around it, but once you've done and you've accomplished your goal, I don't know, that feeling's pretty indescribable, but it is pretty awesome too.